Hello everybody, I'm Faraz and we will start a series of lessons. This time we are doing IELTS. It's second class of its series. In the first class we started with an introduction to IELTS, and this time we'll do a little bit of practice and we'll try to understand what's writing task in IELTS. In order to access PPT that we'll be studying from, please go to www.classroom.google.com, and in order to access that you would need a code, and the code I have written in the description with this email, but I'm telling you again, 2BB74RW. Thank you very much everybody for joining me. It's a wonderful to be with you, and looks like many people need lessons in IELTS, so here we are helping each other in learning to attempt IELTS. I hope it's quite learning and enjoyable experience for you. Before we start formally studying it, I would request you to share this PPT on your walls, in the groups, and with your friends. Also, take your friends in the comment box below. Those who are watching live should continue commenting as we go on, and if you are watching a recording of it, do comment as you listen. I read all the comments, and also on YouTube, do not forget to write comments as we go along. I've started this from basics, so it's going to be helpful for all the people, those who are already familiar with IELTS or those who are just beginners. All would benefit from this lesson. So thank you very much everybody for joining me. We are going to start it. Once again, I'll request you share this video if you haven't done it already, and mention your friends in the comment box below so that they can join also. And go to classroom.google.com, access PPT. I'll tell the code again. It's 2BB74RW. Once you have accessed it, do write in the comments box that you accessed it, and we can begin. And also, whenever you access my video, either on Facebook or on Google, on YouTube, don't forget to put your introduction in classroom.google.com. Okay, thank you very much everybody. I would once again request you to start sharing this live video on various groups that you are admin at, so that everybody must join us as we go along. So let's go. Let me give you 1 or 2 minutes quick review of what we did in our previous class. In our previous class, we talked about what's IELTS and what it stands for, what is the purpose of IELTS, and what are various tasks, and we also talked about some strategies to approach IELTS for preparation. So that's what we did. If you haven't watched it, go, that's available on my Facebook page. It's also available on YouTube. Do watch my YouTube channel and don't forget to subscribe. Right, so let's get going because we have got so many things to do today. We are formally going to do a little practice, and before I start, I would say Assalamu alaikum to everybody once again, those who have joined me now, those who joined before. Thank you very much for coming. Smile, thumbs up. If you're smiling, give me thumbs up or give me a smile to show that you are actually smiling. Perfect. So let's get going before any further ado. So we are talking about IELTS tasks. In this class, we'll talk about both the tasks. We'll talk about academic tasks, and we'll also talk about general training module writing task. You need to be familiar with both of them, and then later on you can choose both. I would suggest you should do and practice for both of them, for all of them, and then you can choose anything that you want to do from academic or from general task. Okay, so let's get going now. Definitely, Shamin, this video will be recorded. It will be available on my page, and it will be available on my YouTube channel also. So every time you watch it, do subscribe. Okay, perfect. Ready? Okay, so in IELTS writing there are two tasks, and they are called task 1 and task 2. Okay, I'm on slide number 2. If you don't have access to slide, don't worry, maybe you can depend on what I'm telling you now, you can watch it later. Okay, so task number 1 is the minutes allotted for that, or minutes dedicated for that, or minutes that you should be spending on this task are 20. Okay, and task 2, which is longer than task 1, you should spend 40 minutes for task number 2. Okay, in task 1 you are asked to write at least 150 words, and in task 2 you are asked to write 250 words at least. Okay, so you should not go below this, you can go above that. Clear, everybody? So there are two tasks. Task number 1 is shorter than task 2. In task 1 you should spend, or even instructions are that you should spend 20 minutes, and in task 2 you should spend 40 minutes. Task 1, in task 1 you are required to write 150 words, and in task 2 you are required to write 250 words. Okay, so that's what these two tasks are. This is for both. Now let's see what are type of questions that we have in task 1 and 2. In academic writing module, task 1, you are asked to describe a summary. You are asked to describe or summarize facts and figures presented on or more charts. There may be a chart or a graph that you are given, you are asked to describe that chart, right? That's task number 1 that you have, right? And further you are asked to explain that diagram. It may be machine, it may be a process of something, it may be a buying or selling, it may be a device, but you are asked to explain that scenario. You are asked to explain what's in the chart, what's given. So task number 1 is that. In task number 2, you are asked to express an opinion or give example to support your ideas. You are given a task in the task 2. You are given a question, and what you are asked to do is that you have to give your opinion about something, whether you like something, you agree with something, you disagree with something. You are asked to compare and contrast something, you are asked to give arguments about something, and you are asked to support your ideas. We look at the sample exams in a little while, but just a brief overview that in task 1 you are given map, diagram, chart, process of a machine, and you are asked to explain that in 150 words. In task 2 you are given a task, a question, and you are supposed to give your point of view, your opinion, and then you are asked to support your point of view with the help of personal examples or from second-hand experience as well, which is okay. In general training module task, you are asked in the task 1, you are asked to write a letter in response to a situation. Certain situations are given and then you are asked to write a letter. You are asked three things in that. Number one, requesting for information. You might be asked to tell further information. You are asked to give information, and you are asked to give explanation of a problem. So you are explaining a problem. That's the task. Okay, requesting information, giving information, explaining a problem. These three things you'll be doing are either of them or all any of these three, or all three will be given to you. In task 2 of journal training module, you are asked to give an opinion about a point of view, argument or problem. It's same as in academic model. Writing task 2 is same for or similar for general as well as academic IELTS module. Clear? Okay, perfect. Let me repeat. So there are two tasks given, right? In general task, general training module, you are asked to write a letter, and in an academic, in task 1, you are asked to describe a map, a chart, a diagram, a machine, a process, different kinds of data given in a visual form. Okay, you have to narrate that form. We talked about in our previous class what kind of that is, and we are going to talk about more in detail for many of the classes which will be coming ahead. So this much information is suffice for this one. Now briefly I'll give you tips how to tackle task. Do not take IELTS writing task for granted. Many people who think their grammar is okay, their English is fine, their vocabulary is rich enough, they can do writing task 250 words you'll be writing for essay, and 150 you'll be writing for task 1 for describing a graph, process of something or machine in the academic task, and later writing in general training module. So 150 for task 1, 250 for task 2. Now these tips that we are going to talk about now, they are really important. I would suggest you start working each one of them from now onwards, because I'm not sure you are going to do IELTS how soon you are going to do it, but whenever you do it, start getting familiar with all these tips that I'm giving you. Start practicing them. Okay, tip number 1, organize before writing. Always remember, do a mind map and do write that map on the paper as well. In that sheet you can write that. You'll be given a sheet in IELTS. You can use the paper, empty spaces given in the sheet for making your notes. So always make notes first. Organize your writing task before you actually write in the paper. Remember something, okay? So don't just, as soon as the task comes to you, do not start writing straight away. Always organize your concept map, and don't just do it in your mind, do it on the paper. This will help you in not wavering, not going here and there, not including irrelevant sentences or irrelevant arguments. Tip number 1. I'm on slide number 4, everybody, if you have access to slide. Tip number 2, write with clarity. By clarity means you should have sufficient examples to justify the topic. You should have evidence. You should have specific details. That's what makes writing clarity. Otherwise it's vague. So clarity here is the opposite of vague. Don't just throw the sentences and without supporting them. Okay, so give specific details. Number 3, don't write less than 150. You'll be penalized, you'll be punished, your marks will be reduced if you write less than 150 words in task 1 and less than 250 words in task 2. So it's essential you must write more than 250 is okay, more than 150 is okay, but never below 250. So if you do not write 250, you'll be penalized for not achieving task. Okay, so in order to show the examiner that you have achieved the task, write in the limits of words which is provided to you. 150 is for task number 1 and 250 is for task number 2. Yes, that's compulsory. Tip number 4, practice estimating number of words. Now, do not spend time in counting in exams. Do not waste your time doing this counting during your exam. You should do enough practice beforehand so that you can estimate what number of words are on the sheet. IELTS writing sheets are available online in the website. On the website, just Google it. You can download that task sheet and start writing. Make print of it. Start doing practice on the original sheets, on the real sheets, or what the real sheet looks like. In that way, you can at least understand when your 150 words are complete in the writing task. So it's really essential you should do. So don't waste your time counting words, because 1 hour in real exam goes away so quick you won't know, and it's really expensive exam. So I don't want you to waste your money. Of course you won't like to. We won't like you to waste your money. You won't like to waste your money also. So save your money. So do the practice before you go to an exam. You should know where your 150 words or 250 words complete. Perfect. Tip number 5. You don't write exact question in the task. Now this is really important. We'll do practice for this, of course. Any task that's given to you, either task 1 or task 2, do not repeat the question. Do not repeat the task in your answer. Paraphrase. Right? Write that in your own words. And we'll do practice when we'll start doing practice of writing. We'll do paraphrase and I'll see how you can do it. But do not write exact words of examiners. That if you write those words, they will not be counted. Okay, in fact it will go in minus. Yes, something like that. You start everybody has different way of writing, so it doesn't matter. It can't be same for everybody. How many words in a line depends. I used to write big words, but when I started preparing for IELTS, I started writing small, because in writing you have to write neat and clean. And you know, it's been long that we write on paper. We are used to writing on computer, so initially it was really difficult to write with pencil, but then I got familiar with that, did a lot of practice. Now I can write clear words. So but it needs a lot of practice to do it. Right. Tip number 6. Tip number 6. See, the level that I'm teaching now will be basic for IELTS students, right? It's not a language class. It's okay, you can begin. We are starting from 0, so as you go along you can do practice. I read one of the comment that she said it's intermediate or second level. It's not. We are starting from the basic task. So if you stick with us, you can understand. Okay. Tip number 7. Learn linking words. learn linking words. Thus, therefore, as a result, consequently, hence, meanwhile, nevertheless, although, though, not only, but also, first, second, third, finally. These are words which link your sentences. Okay, so use these words in linking sentences, in connecting sentences. But also, I have done essay classes, and in every class, almost in every class, I provide a list of linking and transitional words. Do practice them. They are really important to maintain their coherence. Tip number 8. Include personal experience where necessary. Especially in task number 2, you are asked to provide evidence, and evidence can come from you or it can come from somebody else's experience. So do provide experience, do provide evidence from your experience, or even you can provide from second-hand experience. You can even pretend that it's a real experience. Okay, so you can adopt that. It's okay. We'll talk about it maybe in some of the classes how exactly that's done, but you need to understand in IELTS task 2 you can give your opinion. Okay, not in task 2. I'll tell you why. Now, give complete answer to the question. Now, this is really important. In task 2 and in task 1, you are given prompts, you are giving ideas, and you are told what to do about those prompts. For example, you are asked to analyze and compare. So you have to analyze and compare. If you only do analysis and don't do comparison, you lose your marks. So you won't get marks for task achieving. So task achieving is to do a complete task. Do all the answer all the questions which are given in the task. So that's tip number 9. I repeat, answer all the queries given in the task. If it's given for comparing things, compare. If it's asking for giving arguments, give arguments. If it's asking for analysis, give analysis. So read the task carefully and do it. Tip number 10. Organize your time well. Now it's really important. Sometimes since the task 1 is, I think, to many it's simpler than task 2. People tend to spend more time in that. So if you spend more time on task 1, then suddenly you'll be losing from task 2. So you have to be really careful how you're doing the division of time. Okay, so divide your time carefully. Don't overdo it. But once again, you don't have to do it on exam day. Do sufficient practice before exam. Tip number 11. Write your task on the correct sheet. So task 1, when you are given 2 separate sheets, the page numbers are given 1, 2, 3, 4. So you should do task number 1 on page number 1 and 2 or 2, and task number 2 on page number 3 and 4. They are differently colored. So examiners in IELTS exam will always tell you beforehand, and it's written in very bold letters on the top. Sheet for task 1, sheet for task 2. Do not confuse them. Okay, so you should write the answers. These tips may sound really easy, and but there are people who make mistakes. So make sure you do practice, and in exam, because in exams our mind works differently. We get panicked, we get worried, we get anxious. All these things affect our understanding. So in order to avoid any situation like that, do sufficient practice before going for exam hall. Okay, now indentation is important. Like you should leave the space before writing any task. Like we do in essay writing, paragraph writing, we leave spaces of 1 inch or 1.5 inch for the first line. So do that in both writing tasks. Clear? Tip number 13. Write clearly, which means what? Your writing should be readable. Okay, readable to examiner, not to you. I'm sure many of you can read your writing, but not every examiner can read your writing. So do writing practice, ask people to read it. If there are certain words they cannot read properly, do practice making them readable. Okay, so your writing should be clearly readable. Okay, so there are tip number 11. I'll do a bit repetition. In tip number 11, there are 2 separate sheets given to you. For writing task 1, there's a separate sheet. For writing task 2, there is a separate sheet. So you should do task number 1 on sheet number 1, task number 2 on sheet number 1, which means what? Task number 1 on page number 1 and 2, task number 2 on page number 3 and 4. Okay, but this is written on the sheet also. When you are provided the sheet, it's written on the top, task 1, task 2. So do not confuse them. Okay, I was talking about write clearly, which means what? Your writing should be readable, understandable. Okay, do not confuse. And when you read, ask people to read your draft. If they do not understand your spelling, work on them, improve them. It's never too late to improve from the beginning. You can do it from zero and go on building it further and further. Tip number 13. Tip number 14. Erase or cut, cross all the information which you think will not should not be included in the writer. So use your eraser, a rubber, and cut neatly, clearly, so that examiner should not confuse whether you wanted this part to be included in assessment or not. Clearly erase with the rubber or cross with the pencil that you don't want examiner to. You can improve your writing by doing writing practice. It's do right words slowly and start building rapport gradually. Tip number 15. All these tips are really essential. As I said earlier, you should not skip any of them. Do practice for each one of them. Do not depend on exam days that everything will happen automatically. None of them will happen naturally, automatically. You have to practice. If you have done practice before, do it again for IELTS purpose. Tip number 15. Proofread at the end. Always save time, 5 minutes at least for reading your draft. At least 5 minutes for reading your draft. Give a quick reading and you can save your, I'm sure you can save at least 1 to 1.5 band if you do proofreading, because there are so many mistakes when we go on. Our mind and our writing speed, they don't match, so we think maybe faster and then we write slowly. So when you go back and write, you can avoid so many mistakes which you made. Tip number 16. Do read samples, as many as possible. There are so many available, there are books available, we'll be doing also. So read sample essays and do get feedback. Tip number 17. Get feedback from your get feedback on your writing task. Okay, so ask people to read your drafts. Ask me to read your drafts. I'll be bringing some sample writing tasks, bringing in the class here. We can watch it. So do watch your feedback on your task, get feedback on your task, and do read feedback of other people as well on the task. Tip number 18, the last tip: be watchful of time. As I said earlier, 60 minutes pass so quick, and they decide about your fate of going abroad or getting admission in a good university. So do be careful about time. Examiners will not give you extra time in any conditions, and if you write after the time is, you'll be penalized. You may not be given your results if you do it. So do not write when the time is over. Okay, I repeat, you only have 20 minutes for task 1 and you only have 40 minutes for task 2. So be careful about dividing time. Now that's what my tips are for writing. Now let's go for practice. Let's go for a little bit of a practice. But before we do that, let's look at what kind of tasks you are given in writing. In writing tasks, these are possible tasks. I am on slide number 6. And possible tasks are main features of a chart or graph. You are given a graph and you are asked to describe the main features of the task. Now remember, the word main is key, which means don't go and describe every detail that appears on the task. No, any details, any minute details that appear on the graph, write only main. So describe the advantages and disadvantages. There are in fact 9 types of writing tasks which are given. So normally this is describe a problem and then a solution, explain, giving invitation, give an invitation, explain your opinion, describe a process. Okay, and somebody has been very kind enough, Amjad Rind has written tips also. They are going to be really helpful also. Do read them afterwards, and thank you. Okay, now let's look at the task. Now I'm on slide number 7, and on slide number 7 the task 1 says the charts below show how average middle income families spend their household budget in 2 different years. That's what the graph is, but what is it that you have to do? Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Now let's look at the task. I am on slide number 8, and we go to slide number 8. Now I'll give you 1 minute to look at the slide. Look at the slide for 1 minute, and then we can talk about it. Your time starts now. When you finish looking at all the things which appear on the task, do let me know. Your time starts now. I'm on slide number 8 and it's a task number 1. Right, so 1 minute is over. I'm sure you have looked at the task. let me repeat what you were asked to do. You were asked to summarize the information. So by summarizing, we mean you have to look at the task and tell what's there. So maybe one word for the entire scenario that appears there. And select and report main features. By selecting and reporting main features, make comparisons where necessary. Now the second sentence is almost same. It's available in Google Classroom, and I repeat the code for you, 2BB74RW. If you go to classwork, you will find IELTS class 2. One person has already commented on it and many people have already accessed it. Okay, so that was the prompt. Now this is a second sentence that's there in the task, is same for everybody. Let me ask you a few questions. Question number 1. Write the answers in the comment box here. How long can you spend writing the answer? How long will you spend writing the answer? Question number 1. I'll wait for your answer. How many minutes will you spend on this task? Question number 2. How many words will you write? Question number 2. How many words will you write? Question number 3. Will you give an opinion or describe a process? Will you give opinion or describe a process? Question number 4. What is the topic? Do you have to justify an opinion? If so, how? Quite smart. Good. Now let's deal. Perfect. I read the answers. Some of you wrote 100 words and some of you also wrote 25 minutes. No. You will write, Habib says you'll write 150 words. That's right. Describe the process. That's right. Describe the process. That's right. 150 words. And how much of time you'll spend? 20 minutes, not 25 minutes. Don't spend 20. No 100 words. Somebody wrote 100 to 150 words. No 100 words. 150 plus words. Okay, that's what you'll do. 150 plus words. And you'll describe the process. No opinion is required. Remember everybody, you don't have to analyze it. You don't have to give reasons. You only have to tell what you actually see in the graph. You don't add any sentence. You don't give reasons. You don't. If you have an opinion, the information must come from the task itself, the data that's given in the task. Okay, do not write anything from your side. Now we have got 1 minute left. 2 minutes left. Let's quickly look at task number 2. Task number 2, you should spend about 40 minutes on this task. Write about the following topic. A successful person is one who has earned a lot of money. To what extent Do you agree or disagree? The second part of the question is always same in questions. It's mostly same in questions. Give reason for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. Now let me quickly ask you a question. We've got just 1 minute left and quick answers for these. How long can you spend writing the task? Question number 2. How many words will you write? Question number 3. What is the topic? Question number 4. What 3 things do you have to describe? Do have to include? Do I have to present a solution or provide facts? Absolutely right. Okay. So you'll spend 40 minutes, 250 words. The topic is successful person. But what is it you'll be writing about? A lot of money. Controlling idea is earning money, but you will not be writing about a successful person. You will not be writing about earning money. You'll be writing about how far do you agree with this. Okay, it's a task of agreeing or disagreeing. It's okay to be both, and in the end, to what you have to tell extent, to what level. Level means completely, partially, don't agree. So this is what your answer will be, okay, and then you can bring your facts and argument. Right, everybody, I think that's it for today. Today we talked about various tasks and we talked about some tips. In the class on Friday, we'll go for more practice, more details of it. I'm sure by the time we finish, you would have learned quite many things, and I'm sure this class was helpful to you. If this was helpful to you, please comment, like and share with your friends. Do also subscribe my YouTube channel and share with your friends, family members. Thank you very much, everybody. Now we'll go for speaking practice. As I said earlier, for every class, after every class, we'll do one speaking practice after every class. So I'll go to Instagram live because that helps me in sharing a screen. Anybody who sends me invitation first, I'll accept his or her request for screen sharing and we can do speaking practice. So thank you very much, everybody, for being with me. Bye bye. See you on Instagram after 2 or 3 minutes. Take good care. Bye bye, and see you in a while.